According to the US FDA, the average American consumes over 6 pounds of potato chips every year. But here's the shocking truth. Many of the snacks sold at Walmart and Target, two retail giants found in nearly every American neighborhood, are not made from 100% real potatoes. Instead, they're packed with refined starch, cheap oils, and artificial flavorings, substances your body doesn't even recognize as natural food. If even this harmless snack hides such risks, imagine what's lurking in the others. And that's why you need to watch this video. Don't eat these 7 potato snacks sold at Walmart and Target, because they're not 100% real potatoes. Stay with us until the very end, because some of the products on this list are so common, you'd never expect them to be here. Pringles Original. Picture the sleek red canister of Pringles sitting on the supermarket shelf, designed to look cleaner and more elegant than a crinkly bag of chips. The slogan, "Once you pop, you can't stop," has echoed through American living rooms for decades. It's more than a snack. It's nostalgia, a cultural comfort. Parents packed it into lunchboxes, grandparents brought it to family picnics, and consumers trusted it because the packaging felt modern and safe. The canister itself has become shorthand for convenience and fun, a glossy promise that this snack is somehow smarter, lighter, maybe even healthier than ordinary potato chips. But lift the foil seal, and the illusion starts to unravel. The FDA's consumer update in March 2024 reminded Americans of a chemical with a complicated name: acrylamide, formed when starchy foods are fried or baked at high temperatures. Potato crisps, the very category that Pringles dominates, were singled out as a significant source. Then there's the ingredient list: dried potatoes, corn flour, rice flour, wheat starch, vegetable oils. Instead of real potato slices, Pringles is built from a reconstituted dough engineered into uniform ovals. Nutrition labels confirm each serving carries about 150 milligrams of sodium. Not deadly on its own, but for older adults already battling hypertension, it adds up quickly. And just as consumers were digesting this, the corporate news hit. Mars acquired Kellanova, the maker of Pringles, in August 2024, triggering antitrust scrutiny in Europe. The cheerful red tube suddenly looked less like a family treat and more like a Trojan horse of health risks and corporate power. Imagine a 70-year-old retiree in Ohio who keeps a can by his recliner. Every night, a handful of crisps while watching television. His small ritual, his comfort. He trusts the product because it's been with him since childhood road trips, because it seems less greasy than a traditional bag. One day, his doctor points to his rising blood pressure and asks about his diet. That innocent red can is no longer a token of joy, but a silent accomplice to decline. Childhood memories sour, when the foods that once symbolized family fun become hidden triggers of illness. Pringles could be called the potato imposter in a tuxedo. Dressed in sleek packaging, inside lies a compressed mash of flours pretending to be potato. It's like serving instant mashed potatoes at a fine dining restaurant and insisting it's gourmet. Or like a deck of rigged cards. You think you're playing, but the outcome was fixed before you opened the box. Do you still feel like it's a bargain when the price is measured in blood pressure pills? In the grocery aisle, a grandmother weighs her options: the familiar red tube or a bag of kettle-cooked chips made simply from potatoes, oil, and salt. The second choice may not be saintly, but it avoids the deception of reconstituted dough. Better yet, at a local farmer's market, she might find baked potato slices with minimal processing. For those managing hypertension, the rule is clear. Choose snacks with 3 simple ingredients, watch serving sizes, and always read the label. Trust, but verify. Food is more than calories. It is a contract of trust. Our bodies are living diaries, recording every choice. When brands replace potatoes with powdered fillers and polish it with marketing gloss, they are not only cutting costs, but eroding the fabric of social trust. And those who pay the heaviest price are the vulnerable, seniors on fixed incomes, workers fueling long shifts with cheap snacks, children absorbing habits that betray their future health. So the haunting question remains, how many more hospital visits will be written off as just age when the real trigger is sitting quietly in that red canister? And if the legend of snacking, the Pringles tube, turns out to be nothing more than a powdered illusion, what will we discover when we turn our gaze to its bold American rival, stacked high in blue plastic? Lay's stacks. Right next to the familiar red Pringles tube sits a blue plastic canister shouting a different promise. Lay's stacks. The name itself suggests strength, modernity, something you can pile high without breaking. The marketing frames it as the American rival, sleek, bold, engineered for freshness. Its rigid packaging looks more like a tech gadget than a snack. To the casual shopper, Stacks feels like Pringles' sturdier cousin, a safe and dependable option from PepsiCo's empire. The implication is clear. You can trust a brand this big to deliver consistency and quality. But the ingredients tell a more sobering story. Instead of thin slices of potato, Stacks is built from dried potatoes, corn flour, and wheat starch, pressed into uniform shapes. According to Smart Label nutrition data, 2024, each 28-gram serving carries about 220 to 230 milligrams of sodium, significantly higher than Pringles. For the average consumer, that may seem minor. For a truck driver living on road snacks or a factory worker fighting fatigue, those numbers accumulate like unseen weights on the heart. And like other potato crisps, Stacks falls under the FDA's March 2024 reminder about acrylamide, the heat-formed chemical that carries potential cancer risks. The glossy canister conceals the same chemical shadow. The human cost shows up in small, quiet scenes. Picture a long-haul driver barreling down Interstate 70 with a Stacks can balanced on the passenger seat. He reaches for crisp after crisp to stay alert on the night shift. It works for a while. The crunch, the salt, the jolt of familiarity. But weeks later, chest pains send him to urgent care. Doctors shake their heads, pointing to hypertension aggravated by diet. What began as a convenient road companion becomes a silent stowaway of risk, turning every pit stop into another wager with his health. The snack that promised stamina instead robs it. Lay's STAX could be nicknamed the Blue Plastic Mirage. At first glance, it looks solid, reliable, even futuristic. But it's a mirage. An engineered facade covering a mixture of flours and salts that leave the body burdened. It's like filling a gas tank with watered-down fuel. The car runs, but the engine wears out faster. Or like a brightly lit billboard hiding a crumbling building behind it. The uncomfortable question follows. Do you still feel in control when a single can hold more salt than your body bargained for? Alternatives exist, though they require a pause at the shelf. A parent in the store might pass by the Stacks and choose a smaller bag of plain baked chips made from whole slices. The sodium levels are lower and the ingredients list is transparent. Better still, some regional groceries offer lightly salted sweet potato chips, which provide fiber and variety without the heavy sodium load. For consumers in motion, drivers, workers, seniors, the healthier decision is often just one shelf away, if they take the time to read. The lesson is painfully human. Food is supposed to fuel, not ambush. The body is a living contract, and every milligram of sodium written into it becomes part of the long-term ledger. When a multinational giant markets a product as bold and reliable while quietly loading it with excess salt and reconstituted starches, the betrayal isn't just nutritional, it's ethical. Those who suffer most are the ones with the least flexibility. Truckers on endless highways, shift workers tied to vending machines, elders who buy in bulk for savings but pay in medical bills. So the warning lingers. How many more roadside emergencies will be dismissed as bad luck when the truth is stacked inside a blue plastic tube? And if even the rival to Pringles, branded as America's answer, turns out to be another salty illusion, what happens when we open the light and airy option marketed as playful and harmless? Lay's Poppables. Light, airy, and perfectly poppable. That's the sales pitch for Lay's Poppables. the hollow little crisps shaped like honeycomb spheres. The message is clever. These aren't heavy chips weighed down with oil. They're cheerful bites of nothingness, fun to share, and easier on the conscience. The pastel-colored bags beam like balloons in the snack aisle, designed to whisper to parents, "Here's a treat you can feel good about giving your kids." The healthy halo works because it doesn't need to make explicit claims. The very shape and language, airy, light, poppable, do the trick. But when you peel away the halo, the numbers tell another story. According to PepsiCo's own nutrition label, 2024, a 1-ounce serving of poppables contains 150 calories and about 200 milligrams of sodium, nearly identical to regular chips. Unlike other crisps made from potato flakes and starch pressed under high heat and pressure, they fall squarely into the FDA's March 2024 advisory about acrylamide, the chemical linked to potential cancer risks. Never heavy doesn't mean never harmful. A snack engineered to feel lighter is still processed under the same industrial rules of heat, starch, and salt. The illusion of safety lives only in the marketing copy. The cost of that illusion shows up in everyday households. Picture a mother in Texas trying her best to balance work, bills, and her child's health. She buys poppables because the packaging suggests it's better than greasy chips. It feels like a compromise. Still fun, still crunchy, but somehow less damaging. Weeks later, her son's school fitness report flags a decline. Higher weight percentile, lower stamina in physical education. The mother is blindsided. She thought she had chosen wisely, but the airy promise betrayed her. The snack didn't float her child upward. It quietly pulled him down. Lay's poppables could be nicknamed the balloon diet. They float on air, but the air is just hot marketing. It's like handing someone a helium balloon and telling them it's food. Or like buying bottled mountain air, only to discover it's the same stale oxygen outside. The haunting question is this: do you still feel like it's lighter when your family carries the heavier burden? Alternatives don't need a halo. They just need honesty. Instead of hollow potato balls, parents can pack apple slices or baked veggie sticks for a school snack. Even lightly salted popcorn, made at home in minutes, offers crunch without the illusory lightness. What matters is not the language on the bag, but the substance inside it. Real lightness comes from simplicity, not air trapped in starch bubbles. The deeper lesson here is about how language manipulates trust. Words like light and airy aren't nutrition facts. They're psychological traps. They allow corporations to repackage the same risks in a playful disguise. And in doing so, they betray parents' best intentions. The people who pay are often those trying hardest to do the right thing. Mothers and fathers who believe they are protecting their children. Instead, they're tricked into handing over snacks that undermine health in slow motion. So here's the unsettling question. If even light can be heavy with consequences, what will we find in the next snack that proudly twists itself into more complex shapes and louder promises? Because if the balloon already bursts, the spiral that follows may bend trust beyond repair. Ruffles Ridge Twists. At first glance, Ruffles Ridge Twists look like a playful upgrade. Bold new shapes, flavors like smoky BBQ or double cheddar, packaged as if snack time could become an adventure. The ridges spiral like carnival rides, suggesting fun, energy, and indulgence. Ads portray them as the snack for people who want more crunch, more flavor, more excitement. It's an invitation to escape the ordinary, wrapped in bright colors and cheerful slogans. For loyal fans of Ruffles, it feels like a modern twist on a trusted brand, a chance to believe that even processed snacks can reinvent themselves into something fresher, more exciting, maybe even better. But behind the carnival lights lies a different story. The ingredient list shows a familiar pattern: dried potatoes, starch, vegetable oils, flavor enhancers, artificial colors depending on the variety. These are not simple slices of potato, but another version of formed crisps. According to FDA reminders from March 2024, all potato-based crisps carry the risk of acrylamide, a heat-formed chemical under investigation for cancer potential. On top of that, flavor varieties like double cheddar or BBQ introduce added sodium, often pushing past 240 milligrams per 28-gram serving. For consumers already at risk of heart disease, this is a cocktail of salt and chemical additives. The spiral shape may be fun, but it is fun dressed in red flags. The human consequence is rarely advertised. Picture a night shift factory worker who grabs a bag of Ridge Twists during his short break. He needs something quick, crunchy, satisfying. The spiral chips promise to fill the gap, to give him energy to finish the shift. Yet, what he gets is a sodium spike that leaves him dehydrated and sluggish, followed by creeping cholesterol flagged at his next checkup. The snack that was supposed to be a small comfort during the grind of labor becomes another hidden link in the chain of long-term health decline. What masquerades as playful fuel for the working class instead chips away at their resilience. Ruffles Ridge Twists could be called the spiral trap. They spin with promises of joy, but the tighter you follow the spiral, the deeper you fall into hidden risks. It's like walking into a carnival funhouse where every mirror hides a flaw in your health, or like climbing a brightly painted staircase that turns out to lead nowhere but back down. The bitter question emerges: do you still believe these twists are just harmless fun when they twist your health into knots? Alternatives don't need to be boring. A college student with limited time might swap Ridge Twists for a small bag of lightly salted popcorn, lower in sodium and free from acrylamide-heavy frying. A worker on break could bring homemade roasted chickpeas, crunchy and rich in protein, which provide real fuel without the chemical baggage. Even grocery shelves offer baked vegetable chips that, while still processed, carry cleaner labels and lower sodium counts. Every small choice becomes a protective step against the spiral. The deeper lesson is not only about food, but about trust. A brand like Ruffles trades on its reputation, built over decades. When that reputation is bent into twisted forms filled with additives and excess salt, it's not just the body that suffers, it's the social contract between brand and consumer. And those who carry the heaviest burden are the very workers and families who can least afford the consequences. Snacks marketed as light-hearted indulgence become silent taxes on the health of the working class. So here lies the question that lingers after the crunch fades. How many more labor shifts will be haunted by exhaustion disguised as flavor? And if these twisted spirals already bend trust out of shape, what happens when we move on to the next snack that promises to be light and airy, only to deliver another invisible burden? Pop chips. Never fried, always real. That's the cheerful promise stamped on every bag of pop chips, dressed in pastel colors and playful fonts. It's a claim designed to disarm suspicion, suggesting that here, finally, is the guilt-free snack. For health-conscious parents, for young workers wanting better-for-you options, Pop Chips markets itself as a miracle in the snack aisle. The word pop itself feels light, airy, even innocent, like balloons at a birthday party. And in a country where fried foods are synonymous with guilt, the chance to enjoy chips without the frying pan feels like salvation. But pull apart the bag, and the picture clouds. The ingredient list reveals not potato slices, but a formula of potato flakes, potato starch, rice flour, and seasonings pressed and cooked under high heat and pressure. According to FDA advisories from March 2024, acrylamide is not avoided simply by skipping the deep fryer. It forms whenever starchy foods are heated intensely. In other words, never fried does not mean never risky. Independent nutrition panels have also pointed out sodium counts in flavored pop chips hovering around 220 milligrams per 28 grams, nearly the same as traditional chips. So the supposed miracle starts to resemble just another member of the processed crisp family, cloaked in clever marketing. Now imagine the scene of betrayal. A young mother in California stocks up on pop chips for her son's lunchbox, convinced she's making the healthier choice. She spends a little extra, trading greasy bags for the airy promise. Months later, a pediatric checkup flags creeping weight gain and higher blood pressure. The Product marketed as a safeguard turns out to be a Trojan horse of starch and salt. What was framed as an ally in raising healthy kids becomes the silent saboteur of family trust. The emotional blow is sharper than any number on a nutrition label. A parent realizes she has been outmaneuvered in a game she thought she was winning. Pop chips could be nicknamed the balloon that bursts. It looks harmless, buoyant, even festive, but inside it's just hot air wrapped around the same risks as fried snacks. Like a magician's trick, the bag whispers lighter, better, safe, while the chemistry inside follows the same rules of heat and starch. It's the diet equivalent of a carnival illusion: smoke, mirrors, and empty promises. And the haunting question is simple. If even the so-called never-fried chips still hide the same chemical shadows, where can families turn for the truth? There are choices, though they require sharper eyes. In that same grocery aisle, the same mother could choose plain baked potato slices, where the process is clear and the label's honest. Or she could opt for apple chips, a naturally sweet alternative free from acrylamide risk. For families on tighter budgets, air-popped popcorn made at home offers crunch, fiber, and transparency. No illusions, no marketing acrobatics. Each of these choices protects trust, not just arteries. The broader lesson runs deeper. Food is not just sustenance. It is a social contract. When a brand plays semantic games, substituting frying with popping while the health risks remain, the betrayal cuts deeper than calories. It corrodes the fragile bond between corporations and families, and it leaves the weakest most exposed: children who inherit unhealthy habits, parents already stretched thin, and communities promised a healthier option that was never truly delivered. So, here is the chilling question. How many more families will discover too late that never fried was just another sleight of hand? And if the playful balloon of pop chips can pop so suddenly, what happens when we open the next snack, marketed not just as light, but as downright whimsical, a product designed to twist flavor into spectacle? Munchos. The bright red bag of Munchos greets shoppers with the promise of lightness, thinner, crispier, potato crisps that melt in your mouth. The airy tagline makes them sound harmless, almost weightless, like a snack that disappears before it can ever do damage. For decades, the marketing pitch has been that Munchos are fun to eat and lighter than heavy chips. On store shelves, they look like the affordable gamble: cheap, plentiful, a safe bet for families watching every dollar. It's comfort packaged as a bargain, a promise that you can have joy without risk. But the spin of the wheel always lands somewhere, and for Munchos, the odds are not in the consumer's favor. The label shows that these crisps are not slices of potato, but a blend of potato starch, cornmeal, and vegetable oil, fried until puffed. Independent reviews of sodium levels put each 1-ounce serving at 250 milligrams of sodium or more, higher than most standard potato chips. For working-class Americans who reach for the cheapest option, that sodium becomes a daily toll on arteries and kidneys. Add in the risk of acrylamide, identified again in FDA's 2024 updates as a byproduct of high-heat frying, and the gamble turns lethal. What looks like a lighter snack is in fact a loaded roulette wheel. The odds of long-term health damage climb with every spin. The scene plays out in quiet, everyday tragedies. A warehouse worker on minimum wage buys Munchos from the vending machine every night. It feels like a fair trade. $1 and some change for a moment of crunch, a bit of relief in a 12-hour shift. He doesn't know that with each bag, his blood pressure edges higher. By the time he's rushed to the ER after collapsing on the job, the chips are long forgotten, written off as harmless treats. But in reality, every bag was a silent bet he never knew he was making. Chips as dice, arteries as the table, his health as the stake. Munchos deserve a cruel nickname: the casino snack. They dazzle with neon colors and promise cheap thrills, but every bite is another spin of the wheel, another coin into the slot machine of your body. It's like playing poker, where the house always wins. Except here, the house is hypertension, kidney disease, and cardiovascular risk. The chilling question is obvious. Do you still think it's just a bargain when the jackpot is hospital debt? Alternatives don't have to feel like deprivation. Imagine that same warehouse worker packing a small bag of roasted almonds instead. The crunch is there, the satiety is greater, and the sodium is dramatically lower. Or he could reach for plain popcorn, air-popped at home for pennies, instead of surrendering to the vending machine. For low-income families, community food co-ops often provide bulk whole foods at reduced prices, trading empty salt for real nutrition. The gamble doesn't need to be between fun and health. There are safer tables to play at. The deeper lesson is that food is not meant to be a casino. Our bodies should not be forced to play games of chance with every bite. When corporations engineer snacks to be cheap, addictive, and deceptively light, they aren't offering relief. They're stacking the odds against the most vulnerable. And it is precisely those with the least room for error, the workers, the elderly on fixed incomes, who are dragged to the table again and again. So the question echoes like a dealer's call at closing time. How many more lives will be lost rolling dice in this invisible casino of salt and starch? And if even the budget-friendly option turns out to be a deadly game, what happens when we step into the final act, the private label brand that controls the very shelves where these games are played? Great value, stack attack. At the end of the aisle, towering above the budget shelves, sits Walmart's own answer to Pringles and STAX. Great value, stack attack. The name itself feels almost confrontational, an attack, but marketed as affordable abundance. The branding is blunt. You don't need fancy slogans, you just need a cheaper stack of crisps. For millions of Americans living paycheck to paycheck, that blue and white label is not just a snack, it's a survival strategy. Walmart has built an empire on the promise that low prices mean access, equality, and dignity for working families. The chips are presented as proof that even the poorest households deserve the joy of a familiar treat. But what happens when that promise masks a deeper betrayal? Investigations by Consumer Reports in late 2024 into private label foods revealed troubling inconsistencies. Sodium levels exceeding 260 milligrams per serving, poor quality vegetable oils, and wide variations in labeling transparency. Add the FDA's March 2024 reminder about acrylamide risks in all potato crisps, and suddenly the value, in great value, begins to look like a discounted health hazard. For older Americans managing chronic disease, or children raised on budget snacks, the hidden costs outweigh the savings at checkout. Cheap does not mean safe. It often means corners, cut in sourcing, monitoring, and accountability. The social consequence is sharpest in the lives of the vulnerable. A grandmother on Social Security buys Stack Attack in bulk, convinced she is stretching her dollar to feed visiting grandchildren. The kids crunch happily, unaware that each serving loads them with excessive sodium and possible chemical residues. Weeks later, the grandmother's blood pressure spikes, and the doctor's visit eats away at the very savings she thought she had gained. What looked like thrift becomes a hidden tax on her health. The promise of equality through affordability morphs into inequality through illness. The bargain turns out to be no bargain at all. Great value stack attack could be nicknamed the People's Trap. It masquerades as empowerment for the poor while delivering the same risks in cheaper packaging. It's like a safety net with holes big enough to fall through. Or a deck of ration cards where every card carries a silent surcharge. The bitter question hangs in the air. Is it really value when the bill is paid with community health? Alternatives exist, though they require breaking free of the trap. In towns across America, community food co-ops and farmers markets offer fresh potato snacks or baked alternatives that may cost a little more upfront but save far more in long-term health. For seniors, small bags of unsalted nuts bought in bulk can replace processed crisps as a daily treat. For parents, teaching kids to roast thin potato slices at home not only reduces acrylamide risk but also reclaims trust in what goes into their food. Real value lies not in shaving pennies at checkout, but in protecting the body's future ledger. The deeper lesson strikes at the political and ethical core. When the nation's largest retailer sells a private label snack that mirrors all the risks of its branded competitors, but hides behind the veil of value. It's not just a nutritional failure, it's a social one. It exposes how the food system exploits vulnerability. Corporations profit by offering the poor the cheapest route to long-term illness. The illusion of access becomes a structural betrayal, deepening cycles of disease, debt, and despair. In this light, every can of Stack Attack is more than a snack. It's a policy failure, shrink-wrapped in plastic. And so the haunting question remains, sharper here than anywhere else. How many more funerals will be written off as natural causes when they were quietly accelerated by cheap engineered food? If even the store brand, the one millions trust as their last defense against hunger, is just another trap, what in the modern supermarket can truly be trusted at all? And so we come to the end of our list. 7 snacks, 7 promises that crumbled under the weight of their own illusion. If foods this ordinary, this familiar, can still carry hidden risks, then the truth is unavoidable. No one is safe. No matter how cautious you are, no matter how carefully you shop, anyone can become a victim when deception hides in plain sight. So let me ask you, which of these did you once trust? And after today, will you ever look at them the same way again? If truth hides in your food, maybe it's time to ask what else is being hidden from you. Subscribe, not as a routine click, but as a choice, to stay awake, to demand better, and to protect the ones who can't always protect themselves.